Welcome to the Not Null Podcast. I'm just an AI voice. But here are your real hosts, Kevin Doyle, Bobby Davis, Paul Bratslavsky, and Sarah Kimmel.
Hey everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of the Not Null Podcast, the tech podcast where we talk about everything from AR to VR, robots to flying cars. I'm joined by Paul Bratslavsky, Sarah Kimmel, and Bobby Davis this week, and I am Kevin Doyle. Coming up in this week's episode, the Google Antitrust trial got underway this week. Unity, which is a gaming developer platform, for those that didn't know, has annoyed its users with a new pricing model. It is September, so of course, Apple revealed some new hardware. Of course, we have new iPhones. It's like an annual holiday now of some kind.
Holiday.
Maybe we should name it. I don't know, but it's like a holiday.
Apple
It's like
Day.
a holiday to me. Apple Day. Apple Day is upon us. And then we'll wrap up with our null, not null recommendation section, where we recommend that you avoid a product or service. So let's start out this week with the Google Antitrust trial that kicked off on September 16th. This is the US versus Google. And the US is accusing Google of monopolizing search and search advertising. So this is the core Google product they are going after here. This is filed by the DOJ, and it was originally by 35 states as well. It's been combined into one giant lawsuit now against Google. It's expected to take 10 weeks, which seems like an excessive amount of time. I can't imagine all the technical stuff they're having to discuss in this. I haven't seen any real details about, we're a couple of days in already. I haven't seen a lot of details coming out because it's not open to the public. It's not being broadcast, right? It's not can't go watch it on YouTube. I wish we could, but maybe there's a reason behind that. I don't know. Maybe they're, putting it on a Google product.
Yeah, federal court, I think, is generally not broadcast.
Okay. So, yeah. So
Trust me, I watch a lot of trials.
Okay. So we're having to read it through, if you want to get the court papers or whatever you can, which is just not, I don't know. It's not,
right.
It's not fun to read, is it really? It's not compelling. It's not like putting it on YouTube. I want to see it, but we can't see it. There was a pretrial dismissal that I did notice. So they're also accused of, they said it was Google rigged its search engine design to boost its own products over those of competitors like Amazon, OpenTable, Expedia, or eBay. That was actually pre-dismissed. So that's one thing they're not having to defend against, which I guess is good for Google. Google say that people are using Google because they want to and not because they have to. That's kind of their main argument, right? They're saying, well, people love us. We're amazing. We're Google. Google's it's a verb. People Google things. So they love us. We're not forcing them to do it. They just want to do it. That's kind of their main point. They're also saying that there is competition. They're saying that you can access data and you can find things in other ways that isn't just search. So there is things like competition like DuckDuckGo and Yahoo and Bing and whatever other search engines that are out there for search. But they liken themselves to also things like TikTok and Reddit and Instagram and ChatGPT and other ways to find information. I think that's a good argument they have there. I think that's an interesting way. Yeah. Stack Overflow for developing. Yeah. There's definitely other places people do Google stuff, which, Google stuff.
The verb.
It's exactly the verb to Google. There is some interesting stats in this article too, which I'll talk about first, and then we'll come to a couple of things. But just to go over some of these, because I thought this was great, the stats that are in here. 90% of search engine traffic is Google. Mm-hmm. The next biggest competition is Bing at 6%. And we joke about Bing being small, right? But it's the next biggest thing. Those two between them, 96% of search engine traffic.
I'm going to say, actually, that's slightly incorrect. And I don't know if they're looping YouTube search into there. But YouTube is technically the second search engine.
I would guess it probably is. I'd guess it's probably in this bigger group of 90%, which would make sense.
Yeah. I'm assuming they're lumping that in there. But so Google itself, just the search engine, is the number one search engine, and then YouTube is the number two.
Right. I'm guessing, they should probably say, they're just saying that, they're saying that Google. So I'm guessing that means, although they do say search engine traffic, but I'm guessing that is, you're right. It's a mix of search engine and
right.
This one was great too, and we'll talk about this one too. It's a great stat. The number of clicks it takes to switch the default search engine on the desktop Safari browser. I thought this was great because this is clearly a one-sided argument here. They're basically saying that it's very easy to switch.
Yeah.
So, there is that. So, Sarah, what do you think about this? What do you think the outcome's going to be here?
Yeah, well, you mentioned the whole Mozilla thing. And what was interesting in the article is that Firefox had a deal with Yahoo for 5 years that that Yahoo would be the default search engine, and the number one thing people searched was Google. or immediately switched their default to Google until Mozilla and Firefox brought it back, and now Google is still the default. So they're saying like even when we did choose like a different default search engine, it was so poorly received that everybody was just switching it to Google anyway. And I'm going to say, like, on a personal level, the times that I have like binged something, like used Bing as a search engine, I just end up going back to Google because it's just a terrible experience. And so, they're completely right here. They're like, just because we have the better product that everybody wants to use doesn't make us a monopoly or anti-competition. It just makes us better. And so the result is what I think is going to happen is when you load up a browser, you're going to have to just choose your default search engine.
Right.
And I think that's going to be the best scenario anyway. If I install Edge on my computer, the first time I load it up, like, what search engine do you want to use as default? And I select it and then I'm done. And I think if they implement something like that, then this all goes away.
What I find interesting is that they're saying they dominate the mobile market by even higher than 90%. But they pay Apple $20 billion. And so Apple could use DuckDuckGo, for example, but they don't. Why is that? I think they have 20 billion reasons why. And so even if they say that, well, we don't want you to choose this, we want to give choice, Apple's still going to want to get money from Google.
Yeah.
Like they still like that money. And so they're going to make it default somehow because they're getting paid to.
Right.
I don't know how they can get around when Apple clearly says, hey, we like this and we want to use it, and users like it and they want to do it. I know when I open up a PC, what do I use Edge for? To install Chrome.
Right.
Well, it's funny you say that. The number one search term in Bing is
Google. Yeah.
Right. And Edge is a better browser now as a developer. We look at browsers. I don't go into Edge as much, but before that, IE was so awful. Even you had to support it. It's like, dude, I just don't even want to go look at what's wrong with my site now because I know I got to fix it. So it's a problem. That's why everyone gravitated to Chrome and to some degree Firefox is for developers. But like, I don't know how you can force competition as the government wants.
Yeah.
When everyone's clearly picked someone, and there's no reason why. It's I guess it's faster. It's a better experience. Bing seemed to be kind of really busy when you go search over there. If you want to go to Bing, we can search it and you can see what people are talking about.
Yeah. Like I said, it's a poor user experience.
And it's not like Microsoft doesn't have it's just weird. You got the mountains and it's just weird.
I'll add to the Google search.
Yeah.
Because why not?
Well, even just like when I tried to use it, just the results were poor. And I'm like, this isn't quite what I was looking for. And then I just went to Google instead,
So
they do have this very cool AI chat.
Interesting part. It's like, because I don't remember ever using Bing in the past or any of those. I forgot they didn't exist. Somebody reminded me that Yahoo is still a thing. And I was like, are you serious? It's still a thing. And so the question is like,
you missed last week's episode.
I was going to say, when we were talking about Yahoo Mail the other day, you totally missed the episode.
Yeah. So Google is obviously doing something right, but then the question is like the cart before the horse. It's like, did they get there because of all the things that they're being accused of, or did they get there because they have an excellent product? And so, and the interesting thing that in one of the articles here, they were saying that they have a policy of self-deleting emails that might be found to be incriminating in some sort of way or potential to be used in a negative way, which is interesting. Like, it's like, I'm going to do a bunch of bad things, so I should probably have a plan, in place that just magically those emails get deleted because it's a policy. So.
Well, something like that's proven that's going to be a problem for them, obviously. But they're just claiming, hey, people just want to use us. They can use us. We're not stopping people from using anything else. And that's true. They're not stopping you from using anything else. And it is literally 2 clicks to change the search engine in this browser. It is very, very, very simple to change. You basically go to settings, you go to search engine, and you choose your search
beyond
engine.
2. That's 3.
I mean, it's like
3 clicks.
3 clicks, and you change your search engine, and it's very easy to manage. It's like, I mean, I guess maybe the average person doesn't do that. I don't know, but
let me ask a question. Let's say Bing was at the level of Google. Would some lawyers or whoever decided, hey, Bing is too big, maybe we could find some antitrust issues with them? It's like, I think like it's just because they're on top, making easy target. I'm not saying Google is not evil, but I'm just playing devil's advocate here by saying if there was another platform that was just as popular, because who's going to get the benefit from this? Because I'm happy right now. You know why? Because I Google things and I get the results that I want. So to me, it's not an issue. So like, they have an issue with this case saying that, oh, we need to stop Google from, doing their evil things that they're doing. But at the same time, it's like, it's not going to benefit us.
And the moment they did something anti-competitive, like start charging you to use Google because they have a dominant position, say, all right, now it's going to cost you, Kevin, 2 cents to every time you search. You're going to DuckDuckGo tomorrow. You're going to Bing tomorrow. You're going to use something else, anything but that.
Yeah.
And so far, for just the search engine, just the search part of it, they've been a pretty good actor. Now, do they crawl everything in their mother? Yeah. I mean, they do that. I mean, like,
yeah, but they also send you to the page. That's the thing. It's not like it's not like the AI where they're reading it, ingesting it, and regurgitating it. They're actually sending you to the source. People, there's a reason like SEO is an issue, is a thing, right? You want to rank high in Google because you want people to find your page to go to it so they can see your ads or read your article, whatever it is that you want them to do on your page. That's a thing.
I do like how they mentioned, like when you were saying how well, Google is not the only thing. You could go to those other sites directly, except no one ever does, at least in my case. Like, how do I get to Stack Overflow? Through Googling it. How do I find that funny cat video on TikTok? I probably Googled it. And so, but it does redirect you to those sites. So, yeah.
It's true. Yeah. I mean, it's true. Like, how often do you go to the toolbar or the address bar up here and type in the actual website that you want to visit? Very rarely. Right?
I do it for every email that has a link in it.
Well, same.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, but I would say, but if you're trying to just find something, I would say you generally just type the name in up there.
Right.
Often, sometimes it's even things as simple as like YouTube. I found myself often like I'll type youtube.com sometimes, but sometimes I just type YouTube and then I click the first link on Google. It becomes the default way to navigate to sites these days.
Yeah.
Right. So you don't have to like type in .com or
right.
Just hit Control Enter.
Or if they have a weird domain name, you just know the name of the company.
Exactly. Yeah, you just know the name. Yeah. And generally, I would say Google, when you do that, you can rely on the results that come up. It's not. It's not like the top search result is generally going to be phishing or something crazy like that, right? It's not going to be Google spelt with 3 O's or something if you search Google. Like it's not the ranking is generally pretty good, and they do send you to the right place. Obviously, you gotta be careful sometimes. There are ads and things like that.
I was gonna say sometimes you gotta be careful, like skipping the first couple. But
yeah,
the thing what I don't like is that the government gets in the business of designing things, which I don't like this at all. So now we're gonna have this interface where we gotta pick it every time we install the browser.
Hopefully, it's a one-time deal, just like we talked about with the EU last week, where it's like you get one time, it comes up, it says, "What browser do you or what search engine do you want to use?" You pick one. And there you go. It's that.
And yet we have to answer that cookie question every time you go to our website now.
Yeah.
Darn
awesome.
EU. That was the worst thing.
Now we're just going to have to answer the browser question every time with the cookie question. It's going to be awesome.
And I would say not to deflect from this, because I think it is worth talking about and is worth them looking at. I don't think it should have got as far as it has. They should have looked at it and been like, well, clearly there's competition here. Clearly they're not doing anything wrong. They're not charging. They're not trying to, there's nothing anti-consumer here that I can see. No. They may not like it, but it doesn't feel anti-consumer. There's other industries that are way more anti-consumer. Take a look at airlines, man. Just take a look at airlines. The airlines really are monopolizing it. There's like 4 main carriers now. They all have their own little sections of the country. At least in the US, they have their own little routes. There's no competition on some routes. I've literally tried to buy tickets like over the last year multiple times, and there is one airline you can choose.
It's collusion
for that
and
route.
Then they just cancel your flight.
And then they just cancel it.
And another thing too that I would say that I don't know, no one's not bringing this up. It's not like the other competitors don't have enough money to do this. Apple could build something. Microsoft could build something. they're trying to build stuff.
I
I don't know why they can't
How's it
copy
working out
Google.
for you, Microsoft?
Seems like it'd be pretty easy, but like, for someone at their level, it's just weird. It just seems like the market's spoken. If they do something wrong, we'll switch.
Yeah, let the market decide.
We
That's
used
the
to go
thing.
to Yahoo. We did. I mean,
Right.
people don't understand that. And then we just said, Google's better.
Everybody
Ask
had an
Jeeves was a
AOL
thing.
email address, and now we
Right.
have one.
You know why we picked Google, though? I think we picked Google because it just had the search bar on. It was very
100%.
minimal. And Yahoo had all of this stuff going on. And you're just like, I don't know. I don't need this. It's too noisy.
That was
To
the
this
problem
day, the
with
fact
Bing.
that it looks like this.
Yeah,
Still
Yeah.
does.
that
the
was
only
the problem
fancy
I had
thing
with
they'll do
Bing,
is
too.
they'll change the logo for some kind of holiday or whatever.
Right. There'll be like a cool
Right.
little game, which is always fun.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
You can play Flappy Bird on the Google logo, it's fine.
So let's talk about Unity. So if you are a game developer or know anything about game development at all, Unity will be familiar to you. If you don't, Unity is basically when you're developing a game these days, if you're an indie developer of any kind, or even studios, a lot of times they're using generally one of two platforms: Unity or Unreal. AAAs are using Unreal a lot. A lot of indie developers are using Unity, but a lot of AAAs are on Unity as well. There's a lot of big games on there. So it's one of two platform choices. So what they've done is they've implemented a new pricing model that is baffling to some people and has upset game developers. As of January 1, they are now doing a pay-per-download pricing model. They're going to charge devs a flat fee anytime someone installs a game that uses the Unity software. So the chart here, which we can see for those that are watching us on video, for those that can't, I'll try and talk through it a little bit. It's kind of complex. But there's basically 3 tiers of user here, 3 tiers of companies that can use this as a personal, which is basically everyman. There's a Unity Pro and there's a Unity Enterprise. So basically, if you are a personal account, you have an indie game, let's say there's 2 of you making a game, and you make more than $200,000 in a year, you will be charged 20 cents per install for those to install that game. Okay? So you got to make 200,000. Anybody less than that, there's no charge. You don't have to worry about it. If you are on Unity Pro, you have to make $1 million in 12 months. And then there's like a tiered pricing schedule, everything from 15 cents all the way down to 2 cents, depending on the number of installs. And then the enterprise level again just goes up. Again, so the prices just come down again, all the way down from 12.5 cents all the way down to 1 cent per install. So basically, they're saying if you're making money, you've got to pay us per install. That's kind of their new pricing model. So the pushback on this, devs are worried about a few things. They're worried about systems like Game Pass, where you can install, uninstall, because this is not per sale. So if you sell the game once, but you're charged 20 cents every single install, there's a potential for, to rack up somebody there. If somebody decides every single week they want to install and uninstall a game, that's 20 cents every time, right? Let's say you've only sold it for $2. You're soon going to lose all your profits and potentially go into the red with it. Not a good idea. Things like piracy, where it gets installed. But the bigger one was, what I found interesting was, we know gamers you can upset gamers easy, right? Mm-hmm. It's an easy crowd to upset, right? You add microtransactions to your game and the next minute there's a boycott, right? It's happened plenty of times. So they're worried about basically the petty crowd where a individual could grief the developer by just constantly installing it and downloading it, installing it, racking up these charges. And if that happens en masse, that could be a problem. And I get it. That makes sense. So what do you think, Bobby? You like this?
I think what you just said is guaranteed to happen. Guaranteed to happen. That they will pick a Unity game just to do it to some guy. And it won't be because they don't like the developers, because they don't like Unity. And they'll do it. And so there's some really large games out here. Genshin Impact is built on Unity, makes a good $1 billion. I don't know how much it is. I know it's a billion. It's not a technical term, but
it's a lot of money,
right? And so suddenly now they're going to have to pay more money in this. So there'll be pushback from these people. The other thing that's very curious is they came out later and said that Game Pass doesn't count. Microsoft will pay that.
Well, it counts, but somebody else is paying. Yeah.
Except they didn't tell Microsoft that that's what's going to happen. And so,
so Microsoft's going to super be on board.
Oh yeah.
There was no way. I mean, like, there's no way. I mean, like,
but Microsoft isn't
like,
going to say we're not going to have Unity games, are they? I don't think that's going to be the.
You can't. I mean, there's two major engines out there,
Right.
two major ones, and I think for indie developers, Unity is the major engine. Unreal has been making inroads in that to make building games easier with Unreal. Unity made it a lot easier to do that. They also had like this really robust feature set of bringing in assets and all this other stuff that gamer developers don't have. It makes it pretty easy to build a game. Making a great game harder, but like you can build something. I do think this is weird. So this guy, the CEO of Unreal, John Rossetti or whatever his name is, has a history of making bad calls. So he's been at EA. He made some really bad calls at EA.
Oh, enough said. He's at EA. That's it. That's all I need to know.
Yeah, and so he got fired twice from EA. They hired him a second time. That's EA.
You've got to be bad to get fired from EA, man. They are.
And so he also came out and said a couple years ago that, the mobile developers that don't monetize their game or don't focus on monetization before they release the game are effing idiots. And then he had to come back and walk it back. All the people that are paying to use Unity. What people don't understand is they're paying right now $400 to use in Unity. That's also going up. That's going to $2,000 a year.
Yep.
Plus, you got to pay for the downstall, and guaranteed they're going to grief them. But they said, well, we've got AI inside the engine that can detect if it's been doing this, and we'll protect you from that happening.
Sure.
And it again, it sparred out again, and then people are like, so you're monitoring the people's PC when we install the Unity engine?
Oh, and they said yes, they are. Yeah,
and they're like, yeah, and we're like,
yeah.
Can you do that? I guess you are, but so it's like they keep inserting their feet into this. And so my point is, you just bought Weta Digital. You spent $1.6 billion. It doesn't seem like, even though this is probably a lot of money, it just seems like they could have did it a different way that wouldn't give someone pause for using your engine. So what happens in a competitive society? Unreal will probably release something and say, hey, we're going to make tooling easier. Here's a more flat fee pricing. You don't have any risk involved. Pay us. We'll get you on it. Our engine's better anyway. Would it surprise me if Microsoft builds a game engine? No. If they so desired, they could, and then put C# behind it where Unity filled it in, and they could lose.
Well, I think that's the thing now, right? Microsoft, while they could probably, I don't know if they will, because obviously Unity uses C#, so it's like it's tied with Microsoft already. They kind of cross promote, don't they? So
yeah, but now you just said we're sending you a bill for Game Pass.
Well,
we didn't tell you that, but like it's $1 billion, and you're like, well, wait a sec, I thought we were friends.
I wonder how that plays out.
Microsoft is going to buy Unity.
Yeah,
like,
they
what?
could. I mean,
We'll
like,
just buy you. We don't care.
We're not going to build our own. We'll just buy it.
Yeah.
I think they could have done plenty of times for sure. Whether they will or not, I don't.
Right. I mean, they do make great tooling. So, and there is a really deep integration between Visual Studio and Unity, and it's kind of cool and it's kind of rich. It's one of the things I really liked about Unity, that you could take skills. If you knew how to use C#, you could transfer those over and build a game if you wanted to do it.
What?
I think it's a bad move for them to just change something like this. They gave them 2 months notice. It's kind of weird.
What they should have done is, because I'm sure somebody did the math, and they probably were like, well, our competitors, this is how much their licensing is. They're just paying it up front, and so what they should have done is showed how this new plan compares to like Unreal Engine and how their licensing works. Because I watched some YouTube videos where some developers were livid, and then there's some developers that are also like huge into Unity, and they make like games, and that's how they make their living. They didn't really complain that much about it. And like the caveat being there is that, well, you need to sell $200,000 worth of games in order to qualify, and you need to have whatever that number for installs is. And you don't pay on that initial 200, you pay on each additional afterwards. So
right. And that's kind of my opinion on it too. It's like, you're only ever going to pay here if you're ultimately successful.
If you're winning.
Just like, if you're winning, you end up kind of paying the tax, right? That's how it works. It's the same way with Visual Studio on Microsoft, right?
Yeah, exactly.
For Visual Studio, if you make a piece of software using Visual Studio, it makes over $1 million, they want to charge you. It's like a few $1,000s, right, in licensing fees. If you make less than that, it's free.
But it's not per download, and it gives people pause when they go, wait a second. And everyone immediately went to the thing like, well, what if I just download it multiple times? uninstall it, reinstall it? Do I have to pay? Initially, they said yes. And then they came back 2 days later and said, well, we really thought about that. And it just sounds like this thing isn't really half baked, which is, if you look at John, what's his name, that's running it, that seems like with a lot of his decisions, just kind of like, let's beat World of Warcraft. Let's do that. You know,
that part makes sense. I think it should just be per sale, because otherwise it doesn't make sense. And to be honest, like, if someone steals this game and rips it and shares it on those dark webs and where people download it for free, that's
you're screwed.
You're screwed. That's not fair, and it should just be per sale. To me, that makes no sense. Like that is crazy. It's like you buy something once, but then you could pay for it indefinitely out of pocket. It's like, how does that make sense? It just makes no sense.
He's been going to the Elon School of Executive Management.
That's probably what it is. But, I was disappointed because I love Unity, and now I'm going to have to learn Unreal.
He sold his stock 2 weeks before. He sold about $37,000 worth of stock 2 weeks before this.
Yeah, because he knows what's going to happen. He's like,
he knows, and the stock price dropped on this announcement. He knows what's going to happen. And he's probably put his house up for sale.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's awesome. I can see a lot of like freemium games like opting not to go that model anymore, just because
that's what Genshin Impact is.
Right. And I can see that, because if they create this game and then become popular, and now all of a sudden they're hit with this like huge bill because people are installing this freemium game but not paying for the upgrades and whatever, they're still getting charged for all these people that are using the game and not buying anything.
What are the daily active users of Genshin Impact? Can we Google that?
We probably can't find the actual.
But let's Bing it. I mean,
they have a lot of people. Bing it. Daily active users.
I mean, we probably could. You can find stats on Steam and stuff, but take me a minute to find them. More than finding them here.
We'll leave this dirty math. We'll just trust
million.
This article right here. They know what they're doing.
Yeah.
That's close. I mean, it's going to be in the realm of possibility. Like, 64 million. So if you do that by a penny,
sure, that's still a whole heck of a lot of money.
Yeah, it is. But I wonder how much they're making too, though. Right now, that's the thing.
This game makes well over $1 billion.
Sure. Right. so they are ultimately making money.
Yeah, that's what one of the YouTubers was saying. If you do the math based on what you would be paying out of pocket based on their new rules, it's still better than some of the competitors charge. But I still think it shouldn't be per download or install. Right. That makes zero sense.
Just put it in a spreadsheet, math it out, and change that first install of someone buying the thing and using it. Raise the price.
Right.
They went to $2,000 though. They went from 400 to 2,000 plus this, and that's the other thing that's got people mad. It's just like, whoa, bro. I mean, and the thing is, you want people to use it, right. And you don't like. It seems like you wouldn't put up barriers and gates and say, "Hey, slow your roll. Maybe you should look at Unreal." And they made the entire community look at Unreal.
Right.
Yeah. What's interesting?
Every single one of them went to the pricing page of Unreal and said, "What does it cost to do this? How do I do it? How do I build it?" Yeah.
The other argument someone said is because they're now a publicly traded company, they have to put their investors first, so they have to figure out these creative ways to make the quarter or whatever look good. So by doing this magic math, they could say to their stakeholders, like, "Look, we increased our revenue, even though they didn't, by this much percentage because this is our new pricing, and it'll supposedly whatever." I don't know how that.
It's not going to play out very well if everyone goes away, is it?
Right, exactly. Exactly. It's like at the end of the day, who's using your service? And if there's nobody there, it's but
this will cause other game engines to come around. Like this will cause other game engines that are like third rate to come up there and say, "Hey, we can compete on this, even though we're not as good as Unity."
And while I understand it's their platform, they can do whatever the heck they want. They built it. But I don't like it when a platform punishes the creator for bad actors. And so if somebody's going to pirate the game or, like you were saying, just run a program that's uninstalling and reinstalling the game over and over again, that's punishing the creator for those bad actors instead of, trying to punish the bad actors.
What I don't understand is in these corporate meetings, and again, they need to hire me, because I would have said in the first second this guy, John, made this thing up, says, hey, we're going to charge them on install. And I'm like, well, what if they uninstall it? We're going to charge them again. What if someone writes a script or a bot to do this millions of times to somebody because they don't like their monetization policy? What do we do?
No.
They're going to sue us, John. That's what they're going to do. Like all of these people,
the result.
And what if it's, Fortnite or Epic or Genshin Impact guys? Or what if it's someone with lots of money that comes up and says, you sent me a bill for $100 million? I mean,
Right.
like, what's this about?
Yeah.
And so seems like in 5 minutes you could have figured it out instead of rolling it out and let everyone tell you that you're an idiot. And then you come back and try to like massage it. And I think that's the rollout is the thing that's bizarre.
The fact that it's applicable to free demos or games that, let's say, sounds like I made a game. It's not a full AAA game, but it's fun. I'm going to sell it for 99 cents. And now you're paying 20 cents per install. And
that could be a
like
problem.
me, like I have like a handheld, I have my computer, like I'll buy a game, I'll install it on 4 different devices.
Yeah, every one of those counts.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, I just like ripped off the person. I feel guilty now. It's like, I'm going to say that they should definitely do per sale, and they should definitely figure out a better way. As if they keep going with this, they're definitely going to lose a lot of, because I saw some people speaking about this on YouTube, and I was like, man, thank God there's this screen between me and that person. They look really,
it's a passionate community.
They look really, really upset. And it's like this person who is like, I've never seen Matt ever. Like, he always talks about his indie development. And I saw him today. I was like, I just wanted to send him a private DM. I mean, I don't know who that person is in real life. You're like, I just want to give you a hug, brother. I just want to give you a hug. Because he was upset. He's like the nicest YouTuber ever. And I was like, they've messed up.
It makes me wonder. There has been enough pushback that we'll see if this actually goes through. I have a feeling we're going to talk about this next week and like, yeah, they kind of retracted that or changed it. We'll see.
I'm going to put my futurist hat on here, but there's going to be a 99-cent game or a 50-cent game that will get 10 million downloads. And this guy is charging 9 cents. And it's going to be random. This hacker will go figure out a bot, and he's going to put it on 10,000 computers across the world, steal the code, and install it millions of times. And we'll read about this story January 5th, right after the launch of it.
Also, I'm pretty sure this can't be done, but if I was Unreal, I'll be like, you know what? We'll pay the 20 cents, and you could host your Unity game on our Unreal Engine store. And instead of you paying us, we'll pay you 50 cents. It's like, I mean, they're ridiculous. I don't know what they're doing.
There is an opportunity here for the competitor, for sure.
Yes, 100%.
Kind of smack talk this and try and get some custom out of it, for sure.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens. Okay, let's move on to September, Apple month, right? Is that what I think, Sarah's so excited about this month. It's her best month of the year as a giant Apple fan that she is.
She's daydreaming about the new iPhone right now.
So today is the Wednesday afterwards we are recording this. It is the 13th. The Apple event was yesterday, the 12th. I'm sure you guys all watched it with like glued to it, right? So there was some. Let's just talk about
fun of it.
Can we just talk about the event first? Because talk about making fun of it. Let's just talk about the event first. Okay.
I'd like to make fun of the event.
Hold on.
Please.
Let me first tell you a funny story first, because I was at work. We do this open office hours where normally people show up. I was like, why is nobody here? And then I go on Twitter and it says Apple things happening. I'm like, oh, that makes sense. Everybody's looking at and so that's how.
That's funny.
My happy story is full disclosure. I was watching the .NET community stand up for Blazor at the same time, and I'm going to toot my own horn. Kevin knows what I'm going to say. I'm sitting there watching the community stand up, and they said, and here's some great videos from YouTube around the horn. And they show my video on the community stand up. And I'm running up and down the hall, like, Microsoft knows who we are.
That's awesome, Bobby.
No, it was cool. You sent me a message, be like, look back here, look, we're on this. Our video's on it.
Really
Look,
awesome.
my face appeared on screen on the .NET channel. Like, that's cool.
And I've been on screen so many times and done so many YouTube videos.
Terrible though. Now someone's gonna find that and be like, we knew it. You are
He works for Microsoft.
Shield.
No, it's true. We get accused of that every single time.
I'm not gonna do it, but
Yeah.
like once
Every
in a
single
while,
time we
like,
put out a
trolling your
video.
channel, I'll just share that
Yep.
clip.
Every
Like,
time we
hey.
put out a video that says something good about Microsoft, somebody's like, corporate
Every
shields,
time.
they're paid by Microsoft.
Yeah.
I always have to come on there and be
Which-
like, we've never been paid a penny. We're in no way affiliated with them. We
We
just
would
like
love
the
to be,
product.
Yeah,
but we're
right.
not.
Microsoft, give us a call.
And to me,
Exactly.
that's so ridiculous that some people actually think that, because one of the things that drew me to your channel, because I've done some C# development on one job, but it wasn't like my main thing. But the reason why I was really turned on to your channel, you gave a lot of advice that didn't really matter what you did, and you didn't really hard sell like your boot camp on you. And I was like, wow, these like I really appreciated that. It's like you provide so much value, and you're like kind of like, hey, if you want to, you can, but you don't have to, And it's like, and to me, like, and when I hear someone say you're shilling, I'm just like, what are these people doing?
So long story short,
We'd
Kevin,
be really bad at it.
I didn't watch the Apple event. I kept rewinding the community stand up from Blazor. Hey, look, there I am.
Look, there's me. Look, there's me. Look, there's me.
Oh, that's funny. So let me tell you about this event then. Okay, so here's the first thing. Here's the first thing that I found kind of weird. The fact that we even have an event now is kind of strange, because the way that this event works is they get a few thousand people, tech journalists, employees, whatever it is. They get a few thousand people, Steve Jobs Theater in California, and it's like this super nice place. I get it. It's on Apple campus. Super nice. They've made this theater, and people show up and they watch a video.
Right. That's so ridiculous.
Boggles my mind. The launch isn't for the people there anymore. It's for us at home. So
Yeah.
just let them stay home and play the video.
Right.
I get that those tech journalists and stuff show up and they get to mess with the devices. I get that. I understand they get to touch the stuff. Why they don't make regional versions of this, I have no idea. Because you've got
they
people
should.
flying in
Yeah.
from like across the world for this event. And then they're saying, we're now all green. Like, well, no, you've had a few thousand people fly in for this
that's
event.
the part I want to make fun of.
And they really pushed the green stuff this time a lot more than they ever have done. So they've always been like, they're aiming for carbon neutral by 2030, right? It's been a thing they've been doing for a long time. So they're aiming towards that, and they talked about that a lot this time. So what was your cringe moment, Sarah? I know what you're going to say.
I know the whole so Octavia Spencer gets on and she's like
Yes.
Mother Nature.
Yes.
And like the whole boardroom is trying to convince Mother Nature like how green they are. And the whole thing is just like, hey, look, we are so awesome. I'm so happy.
Weird.
Which I get that like your press event is like a time to like, boast your thing, but this was so over the top of just like, I am smelling my own farts and they smell so good. Like it was so ridiculous.
The sketch was a step like in a way different direction. So they've always talked about this for the last probably decade, right? They've been saying we use recyclable parts and stuff, and it's great. And they always talk about that. It's always been part of their product rollout. But this time it was like it overshadowed the product almost. It was weird how much they
and to
talked
have
about
like the celebrity in for like just this part, like there wasn't a celebrity in like any of the rest of the show. And they like had this ridiculous sketch of just them like trying to convince Octavia Spencer that they are like the most green people ever. And like I can totally get on board with you like touting up your greenness like on stage and like, hey, we're doing this, we're doing this, we're doing this. But this was so ridiculous. They're just like, and then when she leaves and she's like, all right, cool, keep up the good work. And they're like, oh, whew, like that was a really hard meeting.
Yeah. See, I'm with you. I love the fact that they're doing all this stuff. I think it's great. Using all the recyclable stuff, doing all the green stuff, being carbon neutral. That's amazing stuff. For a company of that size is kind of epic. But to talk about it in the way they talked about it just feels, it's way cringe. It's weird.
They got the SNL writers.
To be honest,
Felt
I
like that.
haven't kept up with Apple controversy, but back in the day, I think 2012, they did have an issue with factory conditions. And so I wondered if from 2012 to 2013, have they improved much? Or when they say we going green all the way, do they mean like human labor powered? So they're not relying, it's like...
They meant they're going over, they're not shipping over a plane. Now they're using like boats, which have a bunch of fuel too. Like,
but they're saying it's 10 times less. It's 10 times less fuel to do it. Plus, it's not that they are. So they're not it's not. They're not. They can't manufacture and ship the whole like these devices on carbon neutral, right? They can't. They're having to offset. So it's like it's a carbon neutral offset, right? So they're paying to do stuff. They're planting trees. They're doing all this extra stuff. They're recycling wherever they can. So it's carbon neutral. It's not carbon zero, right? It's not like it doesn't cost anything. But I will also say that they're a little disingenuous about the shipping part, because I will also say that not only does it cost 10 times less fuel, it costs 10 times less as well to ship stuff by boat. So there is a massive cost saving there too.
Yeah, interesting. They're all about recycling, but I remember last time, instead of buying a new laptop, I just wanted to upgrade my old one so I could keep using it. And for some reason, you can't do that. Apparently, you have to throw it out and get a brand new one.
Right.
It's fine.
It's yeah.
But you can get a watch band made of recycled materials now.
Yeah.
Not leather, because leather bad.
But with a soldering iron, you can add more memory to a Mac Mini 1. You can. Just watch the video what this guy goes through to add more memory to a Mac Mini 1.
Now I'm curious.
It's a soldering iron, and it looks like Tony Stark building Iron Man armor. Like who's doing this? All right, I got my controversy for it, though, Kevin.
Go on then.
The biggest controversy about this entire thing, Dicephone 15 is USB-C. Everyone's talking about USB-C.
Yeah,
it's USB 2, man. It's the old white.
Hold on, it's only USB 2 on one of the devices. It's USB 3 on the other.
It's 3 on the Pro and the Max model.
Right.
On the cheaper one, which
because I understand this, because the point of it is it's just for charging. So
it's all slow charge.
So exactly. So let's talk about the devices real quick then, and then we'll talk about that in a second. So three actual new devices if you count the phone, or if you count the watches. Sorry, there's 2 new watches as well: a Series 9 and an Ultra 2, which I won't really talk about too much, but new versions of watches, which incremental things. Phones, though, 2 new phones, an iPhone 15 and an iPhone 15 Pro. And then within those, 2 different sizes, a 15 and a 15 Max, a 15 Pro and a 15 Pro Max. Range from $799 for the 15, starting at $799 for the 15, starting at $999 for the 15 Pro, so $1,000 for a phone, going all the way up to, I don't know, $1,600 or something. That's kind of expensive. But, this is the market we're in now.
I say that's similar to like a Samsung Fold or whatever.
Yeah, and the prices haven't gone up, by the way. This is not a price increase on last year. So the 14 is the same price. The only price increase, if you want to call it a price increase, is on the Pro line, because the minimum amount of memory now is 256, not 128. But it's the same price as the 256 was for the 14. So the prices have not increased. Despite people saying the prices went up, they didn't go up. They're just the memory, it went up. It's the same. It's the exact same equivalent. So some of the cool things, the 15's like interesting, but the real interesting stuff is in the Pro with the titanium. Do I want a titanium phone? Yes, I do. Like just because it's titanium. Like I want titanium.
Just vibranium. Is vibranium?
Yeah, that's it. No,
unobtainium.
That's the 16. That's the 16 Pro Max is going to be. Couple of cool features. Then the titanium obviously is kind of interesting. The A17 Pro, the new chip, the iPhone 15 has the same chip that the 14 Pro had in last year. So it's the 16, not the 17. So it's kind of getting last generations in the 15. That's kind of what they're doing now. They're taking the Pro from last year, making that the regular for this year, and they're making the Pro the latest, greatest one. So you're only getting the A17 in the latest and greatest Pro version of the phone. The really cool thing for me, though, 2 things camera-wise, which I found super interesting. Spatial camera, very cool. So the spatial camera is going to use 2 lenses on the phone. This solves the problem of, you remember when we talked about the Vision Pro, and we're saying, who on earth is going to wear the Vision Pro to a birthday party so you can capture the spatial video? As predicted, you don't have to wear it to capture it. You can capture it on a phone, and then you can view it on the headset, which just made sense. It seems like they were always going to do that. Why they didn't like I don't know why they showed the guy capturing on it in the video. It made no sense at the time. We made fun of it.
Yeah.
But now it's like, we know it makes sense to do it on the phone, right? And you can watch it in the Vision Pro. It makes sense.
That's kind of cool, actually. I didn't know that. So that's cool.
Yeah, you're going to be able to capture these spatial videos and then see them in the Vision Pro, which is kind of neat. I don't know what that's going to look like, but apparently they look very cool. And then the other camera feature was the 120 millimeter lens, which is nuts on a phone. Like, it's kind of crazy. An actual real lens. So this is the one that we talked about before, bro, with the periscope. They called it. What we called it periscope before was the rumor, but it's not. It's not technically a periscope lens. It's a, what did they call it? It's a tetraprism lens, right? So it uses glass. So if you think about a 120 millimeter lens, right? If you have one, a physical one, they're quite long, right? They're actually quite big, and they have to be because the glass has to be separated, right, for the light to pass through it, and that's how it works. Well, try putting that distance in a phone that's only kind of this thick. It's impossible. You can't do it. So they basically had the light bounce at angles inside the phone. The technology is amazing to get a true 120 millimeter lens in it. So the lenses are going to go all the way from macro through like a 12 millimeter, 35, 24, a 75, I think it is, all the way up to 120. There's like 7 different focal lengths, true focal lengths, not generated ones, actual true focal lengths through 3 cameras. I think that's kind of cool. I'm interested to see what that 120 millimeter lens looks like.
I was going to quickly say, Bobby, you better be careful. Apple's going to call and steal Kevin from you for being the salesperson because he just sold me on the new phone. He just, with that description, I want iPhone 15 now. I was like, hey, they got like bigger camera sensor, which is cool. But this, oh man, like 100, like, and I'm like, when is this stream done? Can I order it right now? Like, can I go? Like, I'm gonna.
You can order on Friday.
Okay, Friday. Right. Never mind. I'll
look at that.
I'll stay.
Look at this though. Look at this. 120 millimeters. Look, all the way from this is taken from the photographer standing in the exact same spot. So all the way from this, the wide angle, all the way into that standing in the same spot. It's kind of nuts. Plus the macro you can get when you just have it real close. That's kind of nuts.
So what is portrait mode on these phones? What is that?
So portrait mode is it's generated. So basically, it kind of like blurs the background. Okay. So this is another cool feature that they added too, though, because right now on mine, on a 14, you have to decide whether you want to take a photo in portrait or not. On the new one, you just take the photo, and you can decide in post or post taking it whether you want to make it a portrait or not.
Is it a raw mode like we do from the Blackmagics?
No.
Or okay,
no, right. It has a raw mode. You can take raw photos in it. You can take 24 megapixel raw photos in here, which is going to fill up your space.
Yeah, but you can color correct it on the back side of it. You don't have to do it in camera. Yeah, that's the key.
You can, yeah. They have their own version of a. I don't know if they have straight raw. It's their own version of it. It's HF or HEIF or whatever they decided. They did. They did give the name. It's HF, whatever it's. They have their own proprietary kind of like raw format.
Apple has their own proprietary something.
Yeah. Well, they use JPEG too. So, you don't the compressed version do that. But yeah, this is kind of cool. That's kind of my killer features for it.
The action button was cool. I mean, I thought that was cool where you could just hit the button, it could turn the flashlight on.
Do you think it's kind of weird that though that going back to like they've done away with buttons now all of a sudden they're putting a button back on it?
And you can do it whatever you want. You can I do think it's kind of cool for those citizen journalists. Like I always am amazed at like people see something happen and how quick they can get their phone out and record it. And I'm like fumbling around, like, and then the car wreck's already happened. And I'm like, well, I missed that one. So.
And exactly. Go ahead.
I can do that with my Samsung. I just double click right here and look, I'm in the camera.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. I'm not good at that. This button, I could program it and go.
So I think
whip it out.
I can program that button too.
This is my big conspiracy about aliens existing. Every time someone takes a video of an alien, they're obviously not using Samsung phones with good cameras because the quality is garbage. So I'm assuming they were using previous Apple iPhones. So I'm hoping now we're going to get some good alien footage. Because
there's no moon photos in this Apple event, though. I mean, like the Samsung event.
You know what it is? No moon photos. They probably, the camera is so good that when they zoomed in, they saw that the moon was fake and attached by like little screws in the back. So they're like, oh, we can't show that. Let people figure that out on their own.
But you're late to it. Aliens were discovered today in New Mexico. So like, we saw that.
Listen, I saw those
it was actually in Mexico.
It was paper in Mexico? Maches, whatever we call it. Like I made that in school one day.
It's Yoda right there. They found Yoda. They found Yoda.
Okay, can we just? I know this is a total tangent from the Apple.
Not that anybody believes that they're real, but I'm gonna say that this is a definite hoax.
Here's what gets me about the story. It's so funny because we have these weird looking things that people have these pictures of. Or they showed up into some. I don't know. They showed them somewhere. It's like they were talking about it in the actual government today, right? And it's like you have these weird things, right? Which have probably 200 explanations, right? Genuinely.
Yeah.
From fakes to just straight ups like old fakes to being like actual real people that are mummified somehow or something strange, right? There's 100 explanations. Yet the first one we jump to is aliens.
Yeah.
Like, why do we go to the 150th explanation? The least likely explanation on the list, yet we're just like, aliens.
Duh.
Like,
That's it's that
People.
fear of knowing that we're alone in the universe and there's nobody there. Or if people are lonely, they're like, man, it'll be nice if there was aliens there to abduct me. I don't know.
What's always amazing about aliens is they keep wrecking their spaceships. You think you learn to drive a little better.
Right? You'd think. I
not
mean,
if there's
how
like,
many times?
not if there's like thousands of them. We're just seeing the odd one that crashes.
The odd one.
It's
It's
like
the drunk uncle. That's the one that's driving the spaceship to Earth.
Yeah.
Alien.
I mean, the truth is probably like so simple. Like somewhere there was some sort of like accident where they accidentally dump a bunch of nuclear waste and it's going to cause a big disaster. So they're hiding it, and they're like, so how do we keep the attention preoccupied and busy? Oh, aliens. Aliens are everywhere. Which is
I'm not saying it was
ridiculous.
aliens, but it's
But-
aliens.
Aliens.
Would be hilarious if aliens actually came and called us out on that. You've been lying. Those were not us. Those were
That was
not us.
totally not
We
us.
don't
Yeah, that was
personally
not us.
know
We
how
look
to
nothing like
drive
that.
our spaceships. That's why you
I'm
never see us.
offended.
Number
I'm
two.
offended by this.
Yeah, I'm offended. Exactly.
That's amazing. So, who's getting an iPhone? Anybody? Getting a new one?
I'm getting a new one because you just sold me on it. Because
What do you
well, here's the
what do you
thing.
have now, Paul?
I got
Are
13
you
right
genuinely
now
looking
that
at
I
an upgrade?
just fixed, and now it's brand new. But cost me $99 because that was my deductible. Still worth it.
Nice.
But doesn't mean that I can't have two iPhones. I mean, seriously. But the point is, what I was thinking, because my camera is on the older side and I record videos on YouTube, but I don't want to get another DSLR camera. So if I could get something that has good camera quality and is a phone, that's good. That's good.
So
for
you
me,
would
know?
use the phone to record YouTube videos?
Yeah, it's like, why not? If
Lots of people do.
yeah,
I know. Yeah, I was just curious. I mean, yeah.
yeah. I mean, you just need a nice mic. That's it.
Yeah.
I just love, they were like, USB-C is the standard. So we decided to put USB-C in the new iPhone. I'm like, that wasn't your decision.
It'd been
USB-C,
great.
it doesn't matter.
It does if you shoot on it. So let's say you're shooting videos on it, you're trying to get it off, it's a slow transfer speed. So even at the Pro model, the transfer speed is kind of slow. But
This is
you know,
a fraction of people, though. This is
it
the
is.
thing. It is such
It's
a
very
small
small fraction of people. Yeah, fair enough. I just like to make fun of Apple.
Yeah, I mean, it really
It's
is.
not a
USB-C
fast
doesn't
charge.
matter. My prediction: we're not going to even have a port on this in 5 years. Phones won't plug in anymore. They're gonna be used for charging, and you just charge them wirelessly.
Yeah.
I have an iPhone 14 Pro Max that I have never ever plugged into a charger ever.
I agree.
It could have been any kind of attachment on the bottom. I don't care because I wirelessly charge it. Same thing with, so they introduced the new the AirPod Pro 2. As of today or Friday, I think you can order it now with a USB-C instead of Lightning. But like, what's the point? I've never ever plugged these in. I
How do
wirelessly
you get a
charge.
charge in the airport, Kevin? What are you going to do?
I don't charge them at the airport.
I
don't
know.
charge them at the
I always
airport
see
for.
people like, did you charge your phone before you got here? Like, what are you doing?
I guess I'm not traveling far enough. I don't know.
I guess
Like,
not.
I just don't need to charge it. Yeah. I mean, I guess I would if I had the wireless, the battery pack thing to plug it in. But even they now have Qi charging on them, so it's like you can just even wirelessly charge on one of those. You just stick it next to it and it charges.
Right.
So it's going to go away. It's going to go the way of the headphone port, is my guess, and we're just not going to see them. It's like they're having to do it because they've been forced to do it, but they're ultimately just going to say, you know what? Screw you. I'm just kidding. We're not going to have any ports.
F it, we're done.
Exactly. We're done with these ports. We don't need them.
Sue me over that one.
Zoom me over
and
there.
And they probably will.
You
This-
have to put a port on it.
You would.
yeah. You have to put a
EU
charging
loves
port
to
on it.
do that stuff.
Okay, let's talk about our recommendations for this week then. Our Null Not Null section where we recommend that you avoid a product or service. And I think everybody's got some cool stuff to recommend this week. So I'm going to go down the list. You're up first, Bobby, on my screen. So let's go with you first.
Okay, so this isn't something I have, it's something that I want. And why do I want it? I think it's because increasingly as I get older, I get more interested in making sure I have power around the house and water. And this thing, I came across this the other day, and it's a hydro panel. And what it does is you just sit it in your yard, totally solar powered, and it makes water. And so like you could always have drinking water from it. It makes about 180 bottles a month, supposedly, according to the specs, which is enough for 2 people. So if you had 4 people, you get 2 panels. You can mount it on your roof, or you can mount it in your yard, and it just makes water. And then you pipe that water into your house, and it could go directly to your fridge or anything. It's pretty cool.
How does it make water?
So basically, there's a fan.
Science, Paul.
There's
Science.
a fan.
Like aliens?
The fan brings the water in. As you walk around in air, there's moisture in the air. It evaporates that water vapor.
So like
and then they have a special material that collects it and turns it into water. Now,
so I would say this is probably better in a humid environment too. I would assume.
Yes.
If you're in the desert, this probably isn't the best.
Well, there's they use them everywhere. There's water in there everywhere.
No, there is, but I'm saying obviously humidity is the amount of water in the air. I would guess it works better in some environments.
How does it clean it?
You clean the filters, and then there's first off, the air comes in through a set of filters, right? So the filters come in, and then that filters out all of the stuff in there. And then the second is the material that pulls in the water only will attract water molecules, and it rejects everything else, supposedly.
Interesting.
On top of that, if I was doing this and I roll it out, I would probably still pipe it through like my in-house water system or something like that, and carbon filter it. But like just like you would if you had a water filter in your fridge, or if you have an in-house system or whatever, I would still filter it. You're probably right. That was my first question. They say
I would be
this
very
is how it
interested
works.
to taste it.
So
Right.
Yeah,
my
it says
issue
like
with
distilled
this,
water.
and because I wasn't here for 2 weeks, so you probably were like, "Wow, Paul didn't say anything stupid yet." So here it comes. Here comes. I don't see no fences around them, like when they're on the lawn. If you have a dog or a drunk person.
I don't think that's how it works, though, Paul. I don't think it's all internal.
Yeah.
This is not like collecting rain or anything.
But
this is like using solar, so it's heating the panel, I'm guessing, and then behind it, it's creating like moisture, right? Vapor.
Like how is that?
And it runs the fan. The fan is pulling it in.
Like I don't know. I would have someone taste it first and tell me what it's like.
Yeah.
But it looks cool. I actually like ideas like that, to have like a
To me, I'm getting
thing.
a home house generator installed, and that's one of the things for here in North Carolina. Here we have at least 3 times a year the power to go out for a number of days, and that's because of we don't get as much snow as you guys may get here. If we get a bad like freezing event, it's an ice storm, and the ice storm collects on the power wires, and they just fall down everywhere. I don't know why we don't bury them, but we keep standing them up on poles.
Money.
Like Tesla did back in the 1800s. But like we still do it that way, and they keep falling over. And so your power can go out for days on end if we have a ice event. We also get windstorms, tornadoes. That also can. And so I just want to have power. And then I saw this. I'm like, oh, that would complete it. I could just mount this on my roof. And then I could have drinkable water, and then it would be more of a backup more than like I would replace the water. But if the water came off the city or whatever, then this would replace it.
Yeah, we actually.
Seen that, sorry, go ahead, Sarah.
No, you're fine. I mean, this isn't kind of related, but we have irrigation water, and we have then our like culinary water, right? And in the city that I live in right now, there's like an E. coli outbreak in the irrigation water. I mean, so it's not really affecting our culinary water, but I could totally, like, if something were to happen to our culinary water, like, that would be a problem. So,
yeah. And I have a friend that lives in Colorado, and they do the same thing, where it's really a desert area. And so they have irrigation that runs through everything. If something goes wrong with that, it's a problem. So, like, it's just a way to secure your water. You need water more than you do food in the event of an emergency.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
Basically, you want to zombie-proof your household.
Yes,
makes sense.
That's Bobby's goal.
Has anybody seen the water sommelier on Instagram or TikTok? You've seen this guy?
No, but this sounds amazing.
Okay, I gotta send the link will be in the description / in the show notes. I forget his name. I think his name's Martin, something like that. He's a German guy, and he's basically a water sommelier. So he's basically tests. He believes like some water is good, some water is bad, and he's always talking about the
100%.
electrolytes that are in it and like what's the different kinds of water. Sarah, it's totally up your alley. You would love this guy.
That's what I'm
'cause
like.
it's-
This sounds amazing.
Oh yeah.
I'm
oh,
like, on board already.
You would love this guy. I wonder what he would make of this water because I wonder what quality of water it is.
Right.
Like, is it like? I'm assuming it's like distilled water, probably with no
That's what they
value.
say.
Okay,
Yeah.
so it has no like. Okay, so it has no nutritional value at all. I'm guessing
This comes from
it's
the air.
just straight water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I grew up in
Fantastic.
Oregon, and so like I am used to like just delicious water right out of the tap, like at all times.
It doesn't
don't-
happen here.
No, I don't have that here in Utah either. But that's I think where my water like obsession started.
And I can tell you, if you ever go to Florida and you drink water in a hotel,
Oh.
it's like the grossest thing ever. Like
Yeah.
you just don't like, you don't even want to brush your teeth. It's that
Yeah.
bad.
It's bad out here at our beaches too, by the way.
Yeah.
If you go out to the Outer
Yeah.
Banks out here in North Carolina, the water out there just does not taste right. It just tastes a little bit like seawater. It
does.
really does. It's
You
just
feel like
gross.
you're going to poison yourself if you drink it.
Yeah.
I'm not
So,
drinking that. There's something wrong with it.
Let me ask all of you, what is your favorite bottled water to drink?
Aquafina.
Fiji.
Yeah, Fiji's up there. It tastes
It's
good.
expensive, but yeah.
It is expensive, but
Fiji
it, like
is
it tastes good.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Paul's like,
Like-
Fiji's the right answer. Thank you.
Fiji is the right answer.
You are correct.
Oh, you are all correct. But part of me wonders, is it because of how cool their bottle looks? When you
Their
look at it,
bottle
it just
does
makes
look
the
cool.
water look like clear. And it's just like, or is it just because?
Maybe.
But it is really good.
We have a brand around here. I don't know if there's national now. It's called Deer Park. Have y'all ever seen that?
No.
Tastes like absolute dirt. If you're going to the convenience store, Kevin, just get
Well,
a Deer Park bottle,
I've seen
compare
it.
it, and then you're just like, I know it's
Yeah.
89 cents, but you drink it
So-
and you're like, what is in this? It's
the,
like
the,
dirt.
the water sommelier will tell you all about like what's good and what's bad, right?
That's
So mineral
amazing.
water is good, spring water is good. Anything like Dasani or any of the big brand ones are bad because they don't have any whatever it is, the minerals and stuff that's naturally like in them. They don't
Mhm.
get any taste. It's basically what he tells you is it's tap water. It's the
It's tap
same,
water.
but it's
Right.
filtered.
Right.
That's it. That's the difference. It's filtered tap water. It's exactly the same. They basically taken a hose and filled up the thing and put it through a filter, and that's what you're getting. Yes. Yeah. He's great. I love this guy. I forget. He's
As
really
a
good.
kid,
He
we
keeps
used
popping
to
up in my
drink
feed
from
all the time.
hoses, and I would
I
never do that
know.
now. I would slap my kids if that's how I saw them doing it. Like, what are you doing? There's E. coli in that thing.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
we
Especially
drank from a
here.
hose as kids.
We all made it this far.
I know.
Right.
Listen.
Yeah,
the green
but Paul,
hose that
some
was just
didn't.
out back for weeks on
That's
end, you know?
yeah.
Drank right out of it.
Oh my
Tastes a
gosh.
little dirty.
You like drink this? I'm like, I don't know. I think I should probably see a doctor now.
Okay, Sarah, what's your recommendation for this week? Which one not know?
Okay, so I'm obsessed with pop culture and things of that nature, but like subtle pop culture for the most part. Anyway, and stickers. So like I don't know if you've ever seen like my laptop, but it is stickerfied. And so I get most of my stickers from redbubble.com. And Redbubble is just amazing. Like you can literally find anything there. And so like this is my recent stuff because fun fact, I've joined a roller derby league and I am trying to come up with a roller derby name. And so I've got like a lot of Gem stuff. Gem is, cartoon from my day. Well, and then Tinkerbell, that's like a thing. But and then Grease 2.
Okay.
Because I'm obsessed with Grease 2, not Grease 1, just Grease 2. Anyway. So, but like, and then, this is from Mean Girls. Like, she doesn't even go here. Anyway.
Wow. So you ordered all of these from Redbubble? Because isn't Redbubble one of those places where you can go and create your own?
You could, yeah. Like if you were an artist, which I am not, like you can upload your own little like art and people will buy it, and they make so Redbubble will make the stickers or
Is our sticker on there, Kevin?
which I just bought
Okay.
some awesome Gem socks from Redbubble.
Oh, that's cool.
And they're legit socks. Like they're
Okay.
anyway.
We'll have to
so
send you some Coder Foundry stickers on your laptop.
oh, I
Yeah.
love
I kind of want
stickers.
this next sticker. I think that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Okay,
Like,
next
I mean, and
computing.
I can even lift up my laptop because this isn't but this is my laptop. Like,
Okay. Sticker.
Okay, you're gonna have to make some room on there for all those other ones.
I know, right? Well, like I have like a whole I have a whole container full of like stickers that I've collected, and so when I get a new laptop or like a new water bottle, I can deck it out. See, like,
nice. Yeah, lots of cool stuff on here. I guess you can find. I search for Apple, and there's like tons.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
So anyway, I love Redbubble. I frequently buy stickers.
I'm gonna get
it cheap too. Couple
M1
bucks.
Ultra sticker and put it on my regular M1.
Oh, that's very rebellious of you.
Yes. Or
Don't
even
get
worse,
caught
put on
doing
my window PC. Like, just put it on.
Oh, that's funny. Okay, what you got this week, Paul? What's yours?
It's excuse me. It's definitely a plus, but it's also could be a null. But I was sick past week, and so mine was NyQuil. And I don't know what they put into NyQuil, but NyQuil Dreams is a real thing. That's when you dream some crazy stuff. Oh my god! So I had I mean, definitely do not abuse it. Do not drink it like it's a beverage. You know what I mean? Like, definitely use it rarely. But sometimes when you can't sleep and you're very sick, NyQuil just works. But every time I have NyQuil, I have like the craziest dreams. So last night, I had some NyQuil, and I'm literally dreaming that I'm in a spaceship, and that's where my whole life is. And it's so real that it tricks me to believe that that's actually my reality. So when I woke up this morning, I freaked out because before I opened my eyes, I literally thought I was still on the spaceship. And I was like, how am I getting to work today? I don't have
I love
a
that's your
space
concern.
shuttle.
Not that you're out in space, so you're on space. It's like, how do I get to work
it's
from
like,
here?
I freaked out, and I was like, I got to call him, tell him there's no way in hell I'm going to make it on time. Completely forgetting, A, I work remote, B, I'm not on a goddamn spaceship. And then when I opened my eyes, this relief came, like, oh, thank God, because I would not be able to explain
that's
this.
amazing.
Like, so, NyQuil Dreams is a real thing, but definitely only use them accordingly to doctors.
So I got a question. What can you drink NyQuil? Are you okay with the green, or did you get a different flavor? What do you do? What's your jam?
Well,
got
the orange is the Dayquil.
Yeah,
like,
orange
you don't
is the
want the
Dayquil.
orange.
Yeah,
Dayquil
is not going to make you
the
pass
green
out.
stuff.
Right.
Whatever they put in there, it's like I'm glad that they're card, because I was complaining how they asked me for my license, but I'm glad that they're carding folks, because people could definitely 100% abuse NyQuil. When I was a child, I'm not proud of this story. So I'm home, and this is when I realized you don't mess around with NyQuil, and I never took it out of like context or whatever. But my mom was home. She was like taking care of me, but I was like sick. So I didn't go to school that day. So it's like 12 p.m. in the afternoon, right? And I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to take NyQuil and fall asleep. I'll sleep most of the day. I'll wake up. My mom will make dinner. It'll be great. And so I drink the cup of whatever the thing is of NyQuil. And next thing I know, like, all these movie marathons come on. So I'm like, I can't sleep now. I got to watch these marathons. So I'm watching Rambo 1, Rambo 2, Rambo 3. So like 7 hours goes by. And I literally hear like, hey. I'm like, huh? Down here. I'm like, what? And then it literally goes, on the big effing Q, NyQuil. And I look at the floor and I see the NyQuil bottle. And I'm like, oh my God, I think I need to go to sleep now. I started auditory hallucinations because of NyQuil. And after that, I was like, don't touch NyQuil. So I never had NyQuil through the rest of my childhood and teens. And only like in my late 40s, I'm like, okay, I think I could go back.
You can handle it.
Handle NyQuil. Yeah, but ridiculous. Yeah, don't. So I could see how kids and teenagers would abuse this stuff. So make sure you use it accordingly. But that's definitely.
I actually like the taste of NyQuil too.
Oh my God, you're disgusting.
So, yeah,
I've never had alcohol in my life except for NyQuil, and so I don't know like what a shot feels like. But
it's similar.
But like when I take NyQuil, I get this like
Yeah.
Hold on a
Yeah,
second.
yeah,
When
yeah.
Kevin says it's similar, what the hell are you drinking? Like, what are you?
Hold on.
Jägermeister.
What is that?
That's the
Yeah,
only
Jaeger.
thing. So
Exactly.
if you
Jaeger.
like
That's what I'm saying.
Jägermeister, that's what I'm going to tell you. If you like Jägermeister, which is disgusting,
you like NyQuil. It's
you
great.
love NyQuil. So here,
Yeah.
I have a story
Same
about
taste.
Jägermeister, and it makes sense because it's literally NyQuil for drunks.
It is.
But
Agreed.
so-
100% it
so
is.
I lived in Connecticut, and UConn, it's like the University of Connecticut, is like one of the biggest party schools ever. So like once a year they have a thing and everybody goes and gets crazy. So I went, this was when I was like, of age to drink, in college years. I went with my friend and we did something you call pre-gaming. If those of you who don't know what pre-gaming is, it's like you drink a little bit at home so you don't have to spend a lot of money when you go out drinking. You just whatever. And so I pre-gamed with like one drink. I had like a Long Island iced tea. My friend pre-gamed with a bunch of Jägermeisters. And so we both, like, before going partying, we both like, oh, we have to pee. We have to, like, let's just use this bush. And like, I go pee,
As you
he
do.
pees, as you do, as everybody does. And I turn to my right and I'm like, where's my friend? Like, did he leave already? I'm like, was I taking so long to pee that he just left because he wanted to party? And so like, I didn't see him that whole night. And then after I'm done, I'm like going home and I'm going back to my car. Like, I walk by the bush and I literally see feet sticking out. Apparently he passed out, fell asleep, and just slept the whole night inside the bush. And I was like, that's why you never, had Jägermeister once and never again. And it's literally just like NyQuil without any
I
of
think
the
it is
health
NyQuil.
benefits.
I don't drink either. And so, but like I was looking at pictures while you're talking about it, I didn't know what Jägermeister was till just now. I'm like, it does look like NyQuil with a different label. Maybe that's what it is.
It tastes remarkably similar. It's almost the same taste. It genuinely is almost the same taste. It's so close.
Oh, that's crazy.
If for anybody that is into history, like, and just likes to hear like cool random things, like look up, and I don't remember what the video is, but like history of Jägermeister and how it came up to be. It's very interesting and how it became popular and became like a huge selling thing.
Was it made by Vicks?
They probably bought. the
Turns
secret
out,
formula.
same company.
Yeah.
Same company.
So-
Same company, different bottle.
So the way you talk about Jägermeister, Kevin, you have a story or two. Like, what's happening?
Nope.
I was like, no. Smart.
That
It's
is
like,
a
it's like, I don't
fast no.
No
That's
stories.
Nope, don't have
Not
no
talking
stories.
about
really fast.
No stories.
No.
Just no stories. Just taste
Come
good.
on, let's go.
Yeah.
Let's move on to my recommendation.
Yes.
Jägermeister.
Jägermeister. My recommendation for the week. No, Paul was talking about his spaceship. My recommendation this week is actually a game, and it's a spaceship game, and it's Starfield. This came out, same people that made Elder Scrolls and Fallout, and it's their latest game, and it's on Game Pass, and I have Game Pass, and I've been playing it on both Windows and Xbox, and it's great. It's an open world like space game. You get to be in a spaceship and not have to go to work, Paul, which is great. You
Don't
have to do
worry about
missions.
getting to work.
Yeah, exactly. That's where I get into work. You can always get there. You build your spaceship. It's kind of like it's an open world, but it's more of an open universe, I guess, because you're traveling from planet to planet and you can do kind of stuff. It got some like pushback, and I think it's one of those things where people's expectations of this were different than reality. There's always the thing with these. It's like they expect it to be one thing and it turns out to be another, so it got a bad review from some people. If you're on the fence about this, don't go with the bad reviews. It is well worth playing. It is well worth playing. It's a
really
great
good
game.
Really good game.
You've been playing too, Paul?
Yeah, I love this game. The one thing I was
Yeah.
going to add to it, it's like me from the start, like I knew it's going to be different from likes like Star Citizen and all the other space games that came out. And so I didn't use those as a base for comparison. And so to me, like I was like, oh, it's perfectly fine. But I could see how people could have warped expectations. I'm really excited because the game is great. And also Bethesda games are really well known for people modding them. So there's going to be a lot of cool stuff that comes out. Here's a funny story about Starfield. So my friend and I bought it. And then I'm like, hey, you should get Starfield. So he bought it. And then next week at work, we're sitting. He's like, so like, like what level you're at? So he tells me what level. And I'm like, how many hours did you play? He's like, 60. And I'm like,
Wow.
also sitting at 60 hours. That was the weekend. and then a couple of days during the week. And so we both look at each other like, Jesus Christ, what are we doing with our lives? But
okay, you've played it way more than I have. I'm like 15, and again, it was over 2 weekends. So
yeah. I was, by the way, I was sick, so I had some free time.
Okay.
So I'm in a group of gamers, and I can also say I'm not playing Starfield, but all of them are, and they all seemingly like it.
Yeah.
So that's kind of cool.
It's had some controversy too. I will say, as an NVIDIA gamer, it came out without DLSS. So anybody that knows, like DLSS is like the super feature that gives you extra frames and makes them look really good on an NVIDIA card, and it's all to do with like internal politic junk because they have a thing with AMD where AMD's version of it didn't have the NVIDIA version, but they came out with a post today saying they are going to add it. They're adding DLSS. So although not at launch, because it's already been third party. Somebody had already modded it to add DLSS. But obviously it's better if it comes from NVIDIA and the official version. It'll get better frames and get better stuff. It'll improve. And they've already said they're working on stuff like quality of life stuff around the game. So yeah, I think it's great. I think it's going to be around for a long time. I think it has the ability to, it's one of those games that is easy to pick up, difficult to master. There's a million different things you can do in it, but you can also just play the basic game and you can pick it up really easily. I think it's great for that. So it's user friendly, but also deep.
So what the guys I play with, what they want is they want to mod a planet in Starfield to make it Skyrim.
That'll be sick.
It'll be a thing.
So
I thought that was funny.
Like a lot of people make fun of it, but like they're like, oh, it's not a comparable to the AAA games. I'm like, first of all, Starfield won me with its physics. I just shared a video, which is somebody has like 1,000 toilet paper rolls, and I'm like, yeah,
I saw that.
Makes sense. So it's like I'm like, it's a good game. It's a fun game.
It is, definitely. I'll put that link in the description, by the way.
Nice.
Okay, well, that's it for this week's episode of the Not Null Podcast. Let's wrap this up and head on home. If you could, as I ask you always, leave us a review somewhere, that would be great. You can also drop us an email. What's our email address, Sarah?
The Not Null Podcast at AOL.com.
That's it. The Not Null Podcast at
Paul missed
AOL.com.
that whole discussion.
Oh my goodness.
We are the proud owners, Paul, of the Not Null Podcast at AOL.com. Yep, we are all in on AOL.
Did you get the disc in the email in the mail? Remember back in the day, you just get an AOL disc and it's just like, oh my gosh.
We did. We used it. We signed up for email, and that is now our official email address. So if you want to email us something, we'll take a look. That would be great. We will catch everybody next week.
What is this world coming to? Jägermeisters, AOL.com. And,